Hello, welcome. I'm actually really excited for today's video because I travel a lot in the Model Y and I never like to go to remote areas, going off the grid, no cell service, off in the desert without a spare tire. So some of the issues that we have when we do that, I'm going to solve them. I'm going to solve at least 2 issues and I'm going to have a little bonus at the end of it as well. So what I'm going to do is I normally go with the modern spare. It's got everything you need, jack, tire, all that good stuff. But yeah, I have this normally set up as a bed. So when you have it as a bed, you don't want to waste space in there. So normally I put the hitch box in the back, I'll put the modern spare in there, and I'll have some other gear and extra space out there. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to get the modern spare underneath the sub trunk over here. You won't even notice it's there, but I'm also going to solve the second issue. When you have a bed in here, you got that little decline and you need to raise it up. So everybody knows you either got to put blocks on your tires or whatever. I'm going to solve the issue of that too, because it's going to level this off because of the modern spare and the setup. It's going to be stable, comfortable. You won't even know it's in there, and you're actually going to have more space in your sub trunk as a result. So super excited today. So let's do it. All right. So as you can see, we're going to start to lay it out. This is the modern spare itself. This is kind of where I want it to sit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up cutting a little bit of an insert down here just to kind of get the tuck in. And on this side, just to kind of level it off. So it's only going to sit out just a little bit when it's going to kind of block your sub trunk at the moment. Don't worry about everything else. We're going to figure out all the other stuff there too. So I want this to sit here nice and level and just a little bit. I'm not planning on taking a lot. I'm just going to cut a little bit here with the carpet. I'm going to mark it out, and as you know, the modern spare comes with all the extra gears, all the other equipment, so I'm going to tuck it in there as well. And it's already sitting there pretty, even as is, it sits there pretty solid and pretty, like, it doesn't move, and you can put your sub trunk on it as well, but it sits up kind of high. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it where it sits a little more flush, and then I'm going to figure out the rest of it to make it all nice and even back here. So that is the idea. So let's get to it. Okay, so super easy, just remove those, they literally just pop out. This whole thing just kind of pops out and it pops right back in. And then once you get in here, this is literally Velcroed on there. So this is, I marked it off with some chalk. I set it, I leveled it, I made sure it's level on both sides, this side and that side, about 5 1/4 inches on both sides, wherever you want it. This is Velcroed on there, and then this is literally just a piece of rubber. So you see this right here, just a piece of foam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it where I have those marks on both sides. I'm going to cut that foam in there, which takes me just a couple seconds. And then I'm going to get the carpet. I might cut a little slit in the carpet, tuck it down. It's going to drop right in there. So super easy. Let's get it. Okay, so we got that. I was trying to be as minimally invasive as possible, so I could easily remove this thing, but I just thought, there's like a couple little screws. I thought I won't do that. All I did was I marked it out, cut it out. It's kind of messy at the moment. We're gonna have to clean this up a little bit. I was kind of clean up some of this stuff, but boom, there it is. It's that easy for that part. Now I'm gonna cut these areas, kind of cut them down, clean it up a little bit, fold it flat, level it out, and then I'm just going to reassemble it back together, and then we're going to see how it fits from there. So let's do it. Okay, so it's looking pretty good. I just did a quick little dry fit. I sat it in there and it's sitting a lot more flush, a lot lower. Some of the things I need to do, I'm going to clean it up in here a little bit, make it look nicer. This inside flap right here, I did score the edges, but it's kind of stubborn. I'll see. I didn't necessarily want to cut it off, but I'll see if I can make that sit a little flatter down there. And then once it's all down, it sits pretty flush. And then I'll see what I can do about the edges. I can throw some like Velcro tape or something later on to finish that, make it look a little cleaner. But that's all I want to do. I did a dry fit and it's actually looking really good. I'm just gonna try to get it down a little lower and then clean it up a little bit, put it back together, and then we'll do the edges too to level off everything else. All right, so I didn't want to, but I ended up cutting off that little part down there, the little flap, and it actually is already sitting so much nicer. I might do something about this. It's just trying to cover it up, make it look a little cleaner, but this part already has an adhesive strip on it, and it's kind of holding shape as is. All I'm gonna do at this point is just clean it up a little bit. Maybe I'll clean up the foam down here, try to make it look a little better underneath, and then as flat as it gets is the best. And that's basically all I will need at this point, because it's going to make the wheel sit a little more of a, just all I need is a little angle pitch, and then we're going to do the edges to make it sit nice and flush back here, and you won't even notice it's back there. So so far looking good. Let me just clean it up a little bit. All right, so it's already looking way better. This is actually pretty, it's pretty malleable, so I was trying to put a little bit of a crease in there just to kind of make it look a little better, cleaned it up a smidge. I'm still going to cut the foam just a little bit underneath, but on the back side of this, let's just do this real quick. So on the back side of this, there's actually some Velcro in a couple different spots, and that one's stuck over there. I have my own Velcro with double backing. I'm going to put some on in a couple more spots to make it sit a little more flat. And then this piece that I cut out from the bottom half of that on this part, I might just, for the time being, clean it up a little bit. And when this is flat, I might somehow just kind of stick it in there just for a little bit, just to kind of add some insulation. And then I can see if I can get some carpet tape to cover the edges, and you won't even know. It's going to be great. So I think that's all I need. I'm going to do that last little bit right here. Let's get it done. All right, so we have that. Let's just put everything back. These things just literally just pop in. Like, they're just, you don't gotta do anything with it. That pops back in. I cleaned it up. So as you can see, I gained, I don't know if you can see it this way, at least a couple inches, right? So I gained a couple inches, and that's all I necessarily need. And then what I'm going to do, this next part, which is the fun part, is put it back together, but I will lightly raise these edges with some high density foam, and I'll show you how to do it. And the modern spare is going to sit right here, and you won't even notice it's in the back of your car. So let's do this. All right, so I did a little bit of a dry fit just to kind of see how it fits. So far, I'm liking it. You can sit it a couple different ways. I'm doing the rim side out. You could do a rim side down, but I figure, I think it sits a little better this way. And it literally doesn't move. If you look at it, it sits in there perfectly fine. It's perfect. That's how I envisioned it. Space under here for other stuff too. I might put some extra cables and stuff, and then obviously, of course, you can put your jack and all that stuff under there too. So I just kind of trial and errored it. So what it does is lifts up the whole back a little bit. Now what I'm going to do next is I got some high density foam. So I got this high density foam. what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half and cut it in quarters. And I'm going to use those quarters around the edges to kind of raise the edges, and I'm going to put some Velcro and keep them there so you won't even notice it. It'll blend right in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the back end where the little floorboard, little cover thing over here is going to sit right on it nice and flush. It's not going to move, and it's going to raise this a couple inches. You won't even notice it. You have more space down here, and I'm going to taper it just enough to clear the wheel well. And right here, and what that also is going to do, the floorboard is going to be a little higher than the backrest. But if you sleep back here and you put a mattress, I might just put a tiny little foam insert right here at the base of it, but it will level it out. We already kind of trialed and errored it with our mattress, and I'll show it after I'm all done because it should make it a lot more level rather than going down this way. It's going to kind of taper it flat, and then we're going to have a spare tire underneath. So let's cut this in quarters. Alright, that was a little more difficult than I anticipated, but I cut it into some quarters, and now I'm just going to try to fabricate it into here. What I'm thinking is I'm going to have it kind of sitting in these corners, but I'm going to probably clean off the top of it a little bit just to raise it a little bit, and as long as it's down here, and I'll do with all the edges, I might actually cut them in halves, because I don't need the whole 4-foot length or whatever. And we'll see. I'll cut it, fit it, and then see if I can put a little Velcro backing on it. And it should just easily raise the top of it where that whole thing is going to sit right on top of this, and you won't even notice it. So let's give it a go. All right, and voila. So this is, and I know, okay, it's not the best cuts and all that, but you can work on that if you want. But I kind of just made a perimeter with this foam, and you can do different things. You have different ideas, but it holds everything super steady in there and actually raises the, you have actually more space down here. There's more height. These are all Velcroed on. I put them on with like Velcro stripping, so they're not really going to move. And what you do is, now that it's all in here and clean, I'm going to take my jack, throw it underneath there. I'm going to set up the two different things, and I was able to figure out how to do it, find balance. I know I have little extra cushions here and on the back of that, so it takes a little of the depth away. But I was able to do it where I can fold those seats back up, and it still works, and I can still close the hatch. So let's put it back together and take a look at the final product. And voila, there is your finished product. You can't even tell. So from out here, you really can't tell at all. So the way it's sitting, it just looks like that's how it's supposed to sit. This is as sturdy as it can get. This is as sturdy as it can get. Your seat goes back. You probably can go all the way back, but I have these extra foam inserts that kind of makes it a little more snug. But then if you go like this, bam. So you can't even tell. And what's great about it is under here, I got a modern spare tire, and although this might not be the most presentable, but you have your space in here virtually untouched, and honestly you got a little extra space because it's raised a little higher. So, I mean, yeah, it might not look pretty with these foams, but you can get creative. You can make it look as nice as you want to make it. Just get creative with it. But at the end of the day, I chose function over form at this point because we've been car camping and we have a lot of trips planned up. And I'm going to change my cargo box and set it up differently only for camping. So I don't even need a cargo box in some cases because I got a modern spare. This is cool over here because this actually lays a little flatter. And this little bit of gap right here it's kind of not even noticeable. And what I typically do is we're going to put like just a tiny little piece of foam or blanket or something over there. And over here, I got this sanded board and I lay that across right up here because I fold the seats a little further because I'm about 6'3", 230 plus. So I'm a big guy. So me and my wife, we both sleep here comfortably with that board across, and with the inflatable mattress, you won't even feel it. So I'm actually really stoked about this one. So I just solved multiple issues, and then we won't need to jack up the back end as much because this is now raised a little bit and it's got a thick platform where I can sit on it no problem. And again, I said I'm heavier than most, I think. I don't know. So bam, got that in there, got my modern spare in there, all the space, I'm not losing anything. Perfect. All right, and one last look. So got the modern spare in there, I got all my jack and tool set in there, everything you need to lift it, you know, swap out your wheels. I had extra stuff in there. I got a tow strap if I need it, power cable if I need to go extra distance, a couple extra straps. I do have jumper cables for other reasons. All my gear, all my ever charging cables, my CCS adapter, and bam, it's all in there. Lay it flat, you won't even know it's in there, and the functionality in here essentially is a couple inches higher, so voila.